Okay. Hi, everybody. There we are. Okay. Wow. Hi. Hi, everybody. Um, we will. We've got a friend joining us this month. Welcome to December's OnlyFans. Let's add our friend.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Okay, I did it. What up? How are you?
good, good. Good to see you, SC.
Good to
Glad
see
to be
you. Yes, I know it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Sarah Catherine. I'm not Bren. I'm not Emily. I'm SC. I'm the Community Relations Manager here at What She Said. And it is my pleasure to get to talk to my friend Natalie today. So excited to introduce you guys to her and all the cool things she's doing and kind of join our communities. So we're going to have a good time chatting.
That's right. I'm excited too. Thanks for letting me be here, SC. I'm excited to be here and also to join What She Said's community.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to have you. We're glad we're in community together. So Natalie and I met at another community event. Catherine Meyer, shout out to her, the collective. They're a fabulous women's networking group in Austin. So Natalie and I were there and kind of connected on the whole sports thing. I'm a former college athlete. Natalie's resume is a lot longer than mine, but really connected on that subject. So I'm excited to kind of talk about the parallels of sports and in her life still and kind of how that applies to our professional lives now. And we could talk about that all day. So we'll probably get into that. But let me introduce you because you're amazing and you've got like I said, long resume. Natalie played basketball at the University of Notre Dame. And then she very casually was a gold medalist in the Olympics, U.S. Women's basketball team, and then had a 7-year career as a professional basketball player in the States and overseas, played for Washington Mystics. And now she is, all that casually transitioned now to a financial broker. She leads a team of 30 across the country, doing some really cool things. She's created a leadership development program that I want her to plug and tell us how to get involved in and stuff. So excited to hear from you and what you're up to now. You're a busy lady. Tell us what you're up to these days.
Awesome. Thanks, SC. I appreciate that. It's funny because I feel like the people either hopping on or can listen in on this during this holiday season, those are the types of people that already have all of their Christmas presents under the tree.
I mean, yes, but not
Right,
I.
right. Exactly. Amazon saved me for sure, no doubt. Especially, yeah, they're unbelievable. Thanks, yeah, for that. Honestly, I'm grateful to be. I feel like I travel a lot. People, I've moved to Austin, Texas, is where I'm currently in Lexington, Kentucky, my hometown. But I travel a lot, and people ask me, "How's Texas?" And it's just like I love it, but I feel like because I travel so much, I'm never really there, and I can't really like sink my teeth in a little bit. So I feel like 2024 still might have a lot of travel, but at the same time, looking forward to being there. But yeah, doing all sorts of different things. I'm grateful to be a part of a nonprofit or nonprofit initiative more so, to be able to kind of bring active girls, healthy women initiative out of Kentucky. It's headed by the surgeon who's done 2 of my knee surgeries, and that means that's in basketball, but also post basketball as well. So
Totally.
get back to her. Honestly, we go way back to like high school days, taking care of me. So she's doing
Awesome.
awesome things here, and I'm grateful to be a part of that. Obviously, easy initiative to get behind, active girls, healthy women, honestly.
Seems
So
aligned. Love it.
pretty well there on brand. And but my full time, I would say, is as I've transitioned from athlete to business athlete, it's really educating people when it comes to the rules of money. I always say it's like I knew the rules of basketball really well, but never really learned the rules of money truly. And for a lot of people just like me, I mean, for me, I grew up, middle class family, and it was just there was a lot of things, mixed messages. I was blessed with private school education, but never really had a financial
Totally.
education, right? So I think for me, my passion kind of came from that when I saw that I was helped financially, and then I wanted to help others as well. And that's just kind of the small basis from it. But also, like, playing overseas, I grew accustomed to a certain lifestyle. I loved the freedom, the flexibility, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to transition to a 9 to 5 sort of situation. So I liked that. Although I liked the coaching, I liked training, it wasn't the job that I wanted, essentially. So I was actively, like, looking and seeking something, especially after my first ACL. I was like, what, oh, wow, like, I can't play till I'm 40, probably. I was like, I always thought I was going to play till I was 40 or I couldn't walk. And, it's funny because I never thought it would be that couldn't situation, truly. No aspect into that. We're all a little bit arrogant in that regard. Yeah, and so I ended up retiring after my third ACL tear, and it was just kind of God's way of, it was almost like he had to do that in order to slow me down.
Yeah.
In order to say, like, hey, your new chapter's here, truly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Continued on as much as I could.
So did that next door just kind of open for you? How did you find this next journey? How did you decide, okay, I'm done with sports, this is the next thing I'm going to? Was it just kind of like that personal looking for education around your money now as a former athlete? What do I do next? Or was it something you were initially really passionate about?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I was not personally passionate about it, actually. I'm happy. It was a gradual progression. I think sometimes as athletes and people, if you're in the depth of been doing something for a significant amount of time, you're so focused on that, it's hard to kind of let other things in. And so it just fell into my lap truly when I thought I was doing my brother a favor to my brother, hopping on a call, but I ended up being blown away just by just a little bit of education, and I really hadn't. I remember back at Notre Dame, they gave us, like, you as an athlete, you got some per diem money. Obviously they couldn't give you money, but there was just per diem money when you were there, and other students weren't. And so I had all 4 years, I never used a dollar on the little per diem card, essentially. So I walked away with like $10,000 from Notre Dame. But I say that because they still make fun of me now, going back, even just this, got to go back to Notre Dame, and they were like, yeah, you're the one, you wouldn't even eat, basically.
Yeah.
At the dining hall. So all that,
take a lesson from you back then, because I did not walk away with any per diem.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was the outlier there, but I think it was because I was just like, oh, I gotta hold on to my money. What if I don't ever have it? So that was my first taste, and I remember going to the WMBA, and we had like a draft week, and it was like a crash course in like how to be a professional, I remember, but it was so much information, and just how to be a professional. And they threw at us like a 401k, and basically kind of like, hey, here's a 25% match, and this is going to be amazing. And it was like, because I didn't understand it, I didn't take action.
Right.
Truly. So and I just hoarded my money after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And that's what I did for my first few 4, 5, 6 years as a pro. And sometimes when it's there, it's easy to be like, oh, I always have a paycheck coming, and so it's easier to spend. But yeah, after that kind of first ACL, I'm grateful because my twin brother was the one who just kind of was like, hey, hop on this call. I learned a lot, became a client straight away, and that's when I sort of, like, I wouldn't say I was passionate about the knowledge of it. I was just passionate about letting other people know about it, right? I didn't want to be the one explaining, sitting on meetings. Truly, I want to still get back on the court, honestly. And so that was my first 2 years. As I just said, it was more so like, hey, I saw someone that looks really good, go talk to these people, I trust them. Yeah. And that's how I started. And then my second injury is where I literally was like, I didn't want to stay at home anymore to rehab. I was older,
yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me get a place. I had a little bit nest egg saved up. And so I wanted to get, like I said, my own place. And so with that came all of a sudden, bills and expenses. And I was new to that world, right? Because I was fortunate enough to have most everything paid for outside of like food and gas. Totally. And so that's genuinely, I wouldn't say I struggled, I think, initially because I didn't feel like it aligned with where I was going in life. I felt it was a stiff industry. It felt it was an industry that I didn't want to be associated with. I had heard these mixed signals about it, the traditional industry. Oh, they say they lose your money, they take your money, there's no integrity in it, right? And so I had all these myths about it, and I was like, that's not me.
Right.
And fit into this mold. And so I struggled a little bit, and I worked really hard to get back, signed a 2-year contract, SC. I was ready to go back and play overseas, and it was kind of like a thank God moment.
Yeah.
But then a month before I was supposed to go, after 18 months of rehab, I retore it.
Oh.
And it was kind of one of those like, oh shit moments.
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and it's because it only took off for me when I realized I could take everything that I learned from basketball and plant it here,
Right.
and create the culture, create the organization, the people around me that I was used to being around.
Yep.
You know, and didn't have to necessarily be athletes. I would say 80% of my organization is athletes, but that's just because I kind of speak the same language as my network.
Sure.
But it's just the people who are looking for a way to continue to win, who are looking for a way to maybe they dislike their job and looking for a way to potentially transition, or
Yeah.
looking for something different, or want to have just a foundation of financial knowledge, right? And so those are the types of people that I would feel myself like me leaning in on.
Totally. It sounds like the theme of like empowerment just feels like it's also through there also, just like wanting that knowledge to feel like you're in charge, and you feel confident in this next stage and what to do next. I love that.
Absolutely.
What, looking back before all this, what is one piece of advice you maybe would have given yourself starting out now on this side of things that you wish you knew then, or would tell yourself then?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's especially when you're starting out kind of as an entrepreneur, like you focus so much on the little things. You neglect to think it's a big picture, and it's a lifelong journey essentially, right? And so I think one of the biggest things that I would like give myself the advice back when is like, when you talk to people, you're just getting to know them. You're just trying to make friends. You're just trying to see what they're doing, see what they need. And it's like a big scavenger hunt, I think of it as, because it's really everyone can help everyone get to where they want to go. And it's not going to be exactly black and white. You meet someone maybe at a networking event, maybe out and about, you know, at a whatever it is, honestly. And it's like they may not be able to do something for you in that moment, but maybe you can help them lead to someone, right? And then that is just like kind of carries over, which I think I would have valued just like getting to know people more.
Well,
yeah.
Totally. I mean, that sense of community, Natalie and she just was on our Loose Lips panel where we talked about community and this value of community and the way that we can go better, farther, longer, faster together. And I love talking about that because that's a skill and a value I wish I'd really taken from the beginning into everything I was doing. Because just like being on a team, like that served me so well and taught me so many good values. And you can kind of implement that same as an entrepreneur, as somebody now in your professional life. Like, you can only be better by joining a community and helping each other. And I love that.
That's exactly right, Esty. And I think it's like you stop looking at relationships as transactional.
Yep.
And I've gotten the most enjoyment out of actually referring someone to someone. Hey, I think you should talk to this person, and it's so fulfilling. Maybe nothing. I'm just completely the middleman and out of it entirely. But it's really cool. That's something that like is valuable now, and I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, I've like tried to make that my career. It's just like, oh, you need that person knows that.
Exactly.
You guys need to know each other.
Right.
Like I mean, that's how like we met at a community event where, you know, you don't even know, and it isn't always about what you can get necessarily out of that interaction, but being kind of that stepping stone for somebody else, or connecting the next person to the next person, and like the value that comes out of that, because you don't know, you know, maybe you do need that connection at one point. We're all better together, as we said at our panel.
Exactly.
I love it. What skills, just in that same vein, like what skills do you take from your time as a professional athlete into now as a professional in a totally different aspect? What skills, what parallels do you see other than this community? Is there anything else that kind of stands out to you in that way?
Yes, I would say, actually, I'm gonna I want to mention too, because this was a lesson I actually had to, it's like I had to relearn it.
Yeah.
As a professional, and having played basketball for so long, it was just so natural for me to continue working hard and have discipline and just everything that it takes to kind of be and just always learning, you know, and what it takes to continue to improve.
Right.
And I think I struggled so much initially being an entrepreneur was because it's like I almost didn't understand the process again. It's like I had to start over. And when somebody who, he was like a ex-military, someone who's in like the cybersecurity world now, but he said one of his best lessons he learned was he sees like so much entitlement now. And he said, I had to be the one to learn how, or just be the one who's scrubbing the floors in the bathroom, right? And you have to kind of humble yourself to start over, have grace with yourself. You're learning a new skill, and the whole process is the same as just when you were back when. And I think the biggest thing too, it was harder for me. It's almost like it was easier for me to kind of lean in on basketball. I was naturally good at it, but like, for me, it was like I didn't feel like I was naturally good at talking to people. I didn't even want to talk to people. I was truly I had to get out of my comfort zone, and so just a skill I had to learn. You're gonna go through those 3 stages. It's gonna be awkward initially, and then it's gonna be mechanical. Even you're gonna fumble your way through, and then it's gonna be natural, right? And so you have to go through phases. But the biggest thing is people stop during the awkward phase, right? Exactly how I felt too. I was just like, man, I really have to start over again. But then once I realized, it was like, hey, I've been here before. You just gotta get out there and do it. I always love, like, you can't learn a crossover in a textbook, so I can learn everything I want to learn, actually go out and do it and take action.
Right? No, absolutely. That tenacity, that dedication to sticking it out when it's hard and it doesn't make sense, and you have to remind yourself why the heck I'm doing this in the first place. I think that's when community steps in. That's when people, step in and kind of remind you to keep going. But yeah, definitely that dedication, that discipline that you work on as an athlete or you work on in other aspects of your life. Totally. That's so relevant to an entrepreneur and building something new, that you have to humble yourself and to say, okay, I'm not good at this, but I'm going to ask for help, or I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing. And like, that's when you see things move. And that's the difference, is the people who keep going when it's hard. And women are so good at that. And I've loved this community and watching the women who are like, this is hard, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to keep, grabbing hands with the women around me to keep me going. And I've just loved watching that in our What She Said community. I feel like you've done a lot of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, I see, actually, you mentioned a good point of reaching out and talking to your community. It's almost like people don't know you're drowning, like if you're
right.
So communicating that you need help is actually, and people love helping. It's one thing I've learned, is they want to listen. They want to be able to not even necessarily provide advice. It's just like, if you need advice, absolutely. But sometimes people just need to listen, but not necessarily to vent always, but it's more so just need to listen and hear what they're going through to be able to move forward, truly.
I love it. You are all over the place. What does a day in your life look like these days? What are you up to right now? What are the projects you're like actively getting involved in right now?
Ooh, I think it's funny because like every day I wake up at 4:30 and no, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm totally kidding. I think I make fun of people who, they make it seem like you have to have this amazing morning routine, amazing like evening routine, or if you're to be successful. And it was like, enough, like when I embrace
my best.
Perfect.
Doing my best.
Yeah. And it's like, did you really? And like giving yourself grace, like embracing your flaws and understanding you're not going to have a perfect day every single day. And for me, I was grateful for that. So I would say organically my day, let's just, if we were to say, it would say some sort of workout in the morning. I realized, like, even as an athlete, I used to be so strict and stringent and like disciplined and a little crazy, with my diet and getting my workouts in, and it wasn't a productive day.
A little
It didn't
crazy.
work out, right? And you can absolutely relate to that. And it was a little crazy. And so now that I've leaned in on having grace, maybe listening to my body, maybe I probably don't need to go do 20 minutes of sprints, when it's like, and that's kind of the morning, but it sets my tone for the day. And then once I do that, then I'm kind of squared up for the rest of the day to kind of attack it and just getting the things done. I've had to learn the difference between being busy and productive. So,
we could talk forever about that.
Yeah,
that's a good topic.
To be productive, especially my earlier years of like being busy is like, oh yeah, I've been so busy today. I haven't done anything. Yeah. Nothing to go forward. So kind of getting those done right after my workout when I'm in that kind of like high peak state essentially. And then in the afternoon sometime, it's just whether it's like I'm at a coffee shop where I'm working or trying to get some things done, or I'm actually meeting on appointments with agents or some sort of like a client situation, or I'm going to a networking event at night, or I'm catching up on everything that I messed up on, right?
Yep.
Or have the sending emails. So it's kind of, I would say that some sort of variation of that every single day. And then if I'm traveling, I'm grateful for the remote work, so I can kind of work anywhere. And I think that's another really big thing that I've had to adjust to, because I used to be, and I mentioned, like just kind of very routine oriented. So when I was gone for 2 weeks, it would just like mess my whole routine up. Oh, I can't work, like, oh my goodness.
I'm still learning that balance.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm just, I think I've gotten way better, especially now, like we've transitioned to really full-time Zoom after the pandemic. Now I'm so grateful for it, absolutely. But I've had to really embrace the almost nomadic lifestyle. That it's okay to work anywhere, right? That you do advertise, so work. For sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I love it. Well, tell us, I didn't realize it's already been 20 minutes. We could just keep talking. I know forever. I want to know about your development program that Natalie, it's called We Got Next Leadership Development.
Yes.
Tell us about how the people, what they want to know about that, because that's really awesome, and any and everybody can get involved with that. So where to find it, and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the We Got Next really, and that's kind of where I said like it didn't take off for me, my I would say my business, until I really embraced everything that I needed to from basketball, because that's what I know this as a you probably missed it too as an athlete. It's just like the team, the camaraderie, the culture, almost the fashion, like go to battle with people, and I love that I just wouldn't take it for granted. Like even like the playful aspect of pranks on people, and comedy. It's just like the inside jokes. It's just such a beautiful thing to be a part of a team. And I missed that. And so I didn't realize here, and I thought I had to act a certain way in finance, and it was just like, you don't have to fit into this mold. In fact, you'll find your tribe when you actually like kind of authentically lean in on who you are rather than kind of fit into something. And I think once I did that and realized I could create exactly what I loved about sport, it's just a different arena. And so that's kind of where I found my people. Essentially, like I said, not my whole organization isn't athletes, it's just kind of by nature that way, but who we're helping is what's important. And so I love that we can look however we want to look, but we are for sure going to know our shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like by way, it's almost like, I wouldn't even say get away with dressing the way or just being different. Essentially, it's just because you're going to be able to cater to a certain type of people that maybe wouldn't be able to get helped in that other way if you weren't actually dressing a certain way, or you weren't acting a certain way, or weren't just being yourself. And so there's a huge bunch of people that get left behind financially because they feel like it's this big like nebulous concept that, oh, that's not for me, or like, oh, I can't go talk to anyone, or oh, it's so difficult and mysterious, essentially.
There's this barrier. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, and they have this kind of inferior complex, or I don't have enough money, or I can't start, or I got to wait till I'm XYZ in finances before I can talk to people. And so it's really almost taking, I love that we can kind of take this private knowledge and bring it public, bring it to the masses so that they can have a better situation, not only financially, but empowered to make their own decisions, truly. So We Got Next is just kind of from the basketball courts as a reference. I think most athletes will understand it, but it's really about We Got Next in the sense of you go to the basketball court, and it doesn't matter. You just gotta, in order to become like the next team on, you gotta find your people. And if you only came there by yourself, you don't have any teammates. You just gotta find all your people to be able to on, and then you say, right, we got next. And it really kind of catered to, it doesn't matter what you look like, where your background is, where you're from. If you're on the court, you can hoop, then we're going to respect you. And I think that's what I wanted to lean in on, is because doesn't matter where we come from, what we look like, how we, you're gonna have to respect us because we know our stuff. And I think that's that we got next. I really love that part of it, because that's exactly who I am, truly. And so next is obviously obviously that, but then just leaning into we do have next, like it's your time to do this.
So that is a leadership development program. Is there a website? How do people find out more about how to get involved? Because you don't have to be in person. You don't have to be with a company there's no barrier to entry. So tell us how people could get involved or learn more.
Yeah, I think that's going back to, and I'm grateful for this, because it's the industry itself. Like, they almost want you to, the traditional industry, they want you to remain kind of passively dependent on them. They don't want to educate you. And that's kind of where I've initially started. I didn't take any action. I didn't understand anything.
Right.
Finances. So I'm grateful that the company first educated me, but we're unique in the sense that we can educate, we can also implement. If you're a full service firm, obviously, you never, 9 times out of 10, we can help, either where it be like upgrades or just getting people into a better position financially. Sometimes like a whole oil change, like I needed, essentially. Right. And so or sometimes just fill in some gaps for people. So it really is very diverse on how we can service people, but how we can get involved. Honestly, I would either just, like, if you're on Instagram right now, I would just, DM me or a situation. The main website is worldfinancialgroup.com. However, that's not necessarily my personalized website.
Totally. Let's get them connected with you directly. So your Instagram.
My Instagram, it's if not me, then who. I love puns at the end of the day. I love wordsmithing a little bit. So even on some education based kind of things mixed with basketball. And that's kind of how I realized when it came to content creation. Everyone talks about creating content and everything as an entrepreneur, but I was like, gosh, I don't really want to be the person that just explains and talks finances. Like, I was never going to be able to be consistent with that. And so I just kind of leaned in on everything to do with basketball. And like, all of a sudden, all these sort of ideas kind of came into my brain. And so it's work in progress, I would say, with that, but the little comedy with it as well. But
I love it.
If you ever wanted to learn a little bit more about it, I would say, like, DM me. And then there's a lot of situations where you can there's financial workshops if you wanted to hop on. There's also group webinars if you just wanted to listen in. You could do a one-on-one just to kind of learn a little bit more about it. So there's a lot of different ways to be able to not necessarily get involved, but just to kind of learn more. And that's what I would say. Sometimes I would treat finances as something that is only going to add to you, but it's not something that has to be learned all at once, right? We talk to people sometimes in their 40s, 50s, 60s who've never even spoken to someone, right? And so I'm even just like starting out, I would say, is just getting some financial knowledge, and then you can decide if you want to take action. But that's the whole point of just getting a little basis of education is going to be really, really, really beneficial and impactful.
That's awesome. Love it. Thank you for sharing. So last question, we always like to, obviously we're building a referral platform. That's what we do here. We connect the people. So who do you find yourself referring often? Is there somebody you like to plug often? Someone you want to plug right now?
Oh man, I would say, just because I've sent this girl twice to 2 people, one to the initiative that I'm working with, another potential nonprofit that's they're on the startup, essentially. I want to plug Natalie, my namesake, obviously. So I'm just kidding. She's actually very talented. I want you guys to hear her. But it's Natalie.Poindexter. And she's someone who, she specializes in foundation to federal funding, opportunity, grant writing, and technical assistance. And even just hearing that, I remember like leaning in. I was like, what is, what is that? Just learning. I got to sit in on a couple meetings with her, what she's done. And there's so many people out there who they have an idea, and maybe they're a solo entrepreneur, or they're an entrepreneur, or they're working, and they want to be able to figure out a way to be able to get funding or how to start or something like that. And she's so good at if you want funding, it's like, there's ways out there to do that. And she's the one who's going to guide you through that. Right. And so really
valuable
to know, she's very technically savvy. She has a lot of even free resources on her website. Absolutely. Natalie.Poindexter, Poindexter. Highly recommend that. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. We'll find her and we'll tag her also. So that
Great.
join the
There it
community. Keep it
is.
going. Awesome. Well, Natalie, thank you so much for talking. I know we could do this probably all day. So I so appreciate you. I know we were talking, we're both at our family's house for the holiday, just in our childhood homes.
That's right.
So it's fine.
Mom's
Thank you for making the time, though. We appreciate it. And we're so glad that we're part of community together. And I'm glad we're friends also.
Absolutely.
So thanks for doing this.
USC. Thanks so much for having me. And happy holidays to everyone. And may the best gift be you.
I love that. That's good. Yes. Mm-hmm. You are the best gift.
That's perfect. I love it. Awesome.
All right, girl. Well, have a good day. Thanks, Natalie. Bye, guys.
Cheers.